Good afternoon, everyone. Very warm welcome to Quickbooks Labs. Quickbooks Labs is a monthly podcast designed to be the place to learn all about the world of QuickBooks and other accounting software. On the first Wednesday of each month, we hang around these microphones to talk about all your latest news, tips, tricks for QuickBooks Online. So first of all, let's talk about the fact that, as you may notice, Ash isn't with us today. So he's moving house. He has promised that hopefully he's going to be jumping in at some point. So we do hope he can jump in, give us some insight. But we are with Johan today. So really grateful for Johan to jump in. Really excited for him to get involved. Johan, you want to kind of give a bit of a brief introduction to yourself?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not as good looking and as useful as Ash, but my name is Johan. I'm the Group Managing Director of the On Point Accounting Group. We are QuickBooks strategic partners, get that out, and primarily QuickBooks product throughout our firms, looking after small and startup businesses.
Excellent. And as always, come with some great little insights in not only the world of QuickBooks, but everything that's going on. So I'm definitely going to be racking your brains on some of the questions that we have today. So let's have a bit of an update of what this is all about. So first of all, we're live to the world at our regular time of 4:30 UK time, and that's 10:30 US Central Time, I believe. I think that's still right. So if you're listening to this back at a late time, why not think about joining us live? That way you can get involved and ask questions. We had a couple of comments already. Paul, how you doing, mate? How's it going? And you have the opportunity to come in, ask questions, and keep us honest with your burning questions. Furthermore, we're now live on all of the podcast services around the world, so feel free to subscribe for your podcasting services. Now, normally I ask Ash for what the agenda is going to be today, so let's just go through what we're thinking we're going to cover today. We've got a couple of bits there we may save for a later date, but let's go through what we're thinking. So Research 2022 is where we're going to start, and there's definitely some bits we want to bring into there. Got some nice product update on bank statements, may well be here, kind of, possibly. Let's see how that goes. It's all changed at the top of QuickBooks in the UK, so we're going to have a chat about that one. We're going to hear about where QuickBooks conference in the US is going to be going to for future on, and maybe it's time to start saving some pennies, because that might be a worthwhile one to go to. Speaking of conferences, let's talk about the fact that conference season is in full screen. I've got a few other topics we'll sprinkle in there if needed as well. So Johan, let's start off with Recertification 2022, which went live today in terms of getting your exam done. Supposed to have gone live at midday, but to our surprise, it was earlier than that. But no, got all done. Jan, have you got yourself certified? How was the experience for you?
Been there, done that. Waiting on the T-shirt in the post, I hope.
Hopefully, yeah.
No, I did it. I actually did it on the bus. I was coming back from a meeting with a software provider, and I had a 20-minute bus journey. So I thought, you know what, I'll do my certification on the bus. Nailed it, of course. So yeah, no, all certified. Got my updated logos. Not that there's any update, but yeah, all done. Profile updated. Points maintained on the Pro Advisor scheme, and the team have been instructed to get on with it.
Yeah, I think that's the only one thing that some way, somehow, there needs to be a better way to manage your team, isn't there, in terms of what they're, are they certified, what level, have they recertified, etc., etc. Because it is very much a case of it's a manual job for us all at the moment. But we were talking privately before we went live, and it was quite a shock, wasn't it, in terms of actually what content we've had in this year and compared to, well, certainly my expectations. I remember very vividly when we're talking about recertification thinking, you know what, we might not have enough content for this year. It, you know, doesn't seem to be as many. But when you go through the list, it's actually quite a lot. And in fact, we were struggling. We had to drop a bit of the content to keep it in the hour. So, I mean, what have you thought about this year then, Jan? What do you think? It's been a good year, bad year?
We've not had those headline features, have we? You know, like last year or the year before? I don't know. We lose track of time with all the COVID lockdowns and stuff. But cash flow, like a big juicy announcement, like we're launching cash flow. We've not got any of that this time. So I was like yourself. I was sat there thinking, right, okay, what are we going to see in this? You know, are we going to scrape a barrel? Are we really just reminding people about things that have been there for years? But then, you know, I'll be honest, I didn't attend the webinar. I use the product day in, day out. I play, you know, quite an active role in listening to updates and feeding back on stuff. So I'm fairly sure I can nail this without sitting and listening for an hour. And I was going through the questions. Like, oh yeah, they've done that. Oh yeah, they made that tweak. They made that update. And even simple things like I'd totally forgotten you can drag and drop pages on a management report now. And it's like, actually, yes, there's no big headlining announcements, but what they have done is really refined quite a lot of the product in quite an incredible way to make it a lot more useful to us. And you know, there's certainly things there that I need to go back and, you know, remind my team that, come on, guys, we've got this feature, let's use it. I imagine QuickBooks finds it quite a useful tool because they'll be launching all these updates, and I imagine sometimes they don't really get a huge amount of uptake on the update and that new little feature, whereas recertification kind of just goes, oh yeah, we need to use this. So I wonder if they then see a spike in the use of the features that have been covered by the recert.
Yeah, I hope that's the case, because the other danger is as well, isn't it? Is if the you know, if the uptake isn't there, it could get pulled from us, like we had with the customization of invoices and things like that. So, yeah, I hope that is the case. I hope that does kind of spur it on in terms of that, and it also means that they can then put more development time, invest future in improving them, because most of the time, as we know, QuickBooks is very much let's get a minimal viable product out there. Let's hope that, you know, it you know, it's not too creaky and it stays, it doesn't, you know, fall apart at the seams. And then if it's a worthwhile feature, let's start adding to it. And that's probably what we've seen this year, isn't it? It's been that refinement, like you've been saying, to key features like cash flow forecasting and items like that. And, you know, one thing I wasn't allowed to say, if you like, in the webinars is the fact that it's also very much a case that there is a lot of building blocks being put there for the future that we know about, that some of it we're under NDA, we can't talk about, but some of it is public knowledge and is good to know. But it's good to see that kind of those building blocks are stuff that are going to be really beneficial to us as accountants and to our clients as well. You know, work papers going into books to tax and all those sort of enhancements and everything like that. And even the new left-hand navigation, I'm not 100% you know, I probably will never use it, but I know my clients, or certainly the newer clients, find it brilliant.
Playing with it, I quite like it. I'm sat there thinking, I want this in the accounting view. Just the bookmarks feature.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll probably just, in the meantime, I'll add the bookmarks as buttons to my Steamdeck. But like, I do like it. And I think I like the terminology being more business owner related. Whether you want that terminology in the accountant view, I don't know. But the bookmarks concept, that I just thought, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I for me, the terminology, it's chalk and cheese to me. You know, whatever they say, I'm just going to click the button and use it. So I think I'm just a little bit. I agree with the bookmarks, because I think we've done right, not only the bookmark's great to quickly get to access areas, but if we can get that right for clients, that could be a great way of doing a workflow for them, of saying, look, when you log in, we've put these buttons here for you, go down those buttons. And that's what I need you to do as a bare minimum, like do this first, do that. And I think that sort of functionality is wonderful, like absolute chef's kiss to that sort of idea. But still a little bit like some parts of me still feels like that we're not emphasizing enough on certain aspects. So the biggest example I've got there is the fact that under expert is reconciliation of your bank, and that scares me that that's there. And I think they're the little things that I'm not 100% sorted. And I suppose the rest of it is just muscle memory, isn't it? Like we're used to going X, Y, Z for us to get in there. So we'll see. Well, I think we'll see how that kind of evolves going forward. Some of the
I really like that bookmark workflow idea of yours, though. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I thought of it like that.
We've got to, I mean, we kind of don't have the chance where we can set it up for a client, so we've got to be on the call and ask them to do it for us. But I mean, I've tried it with a couple of clients now, and it's working. It's like, okay, so when I log in, I just need to do these bits. You just do them bits, get them bits done, and that's your bare minimum each time you log in. So that works well. And I also think for me, the big kind of, because there was a big emphasis on period end working papers, and we've spoke about this on this before. But you were with us, weren't you, when we went through it? And we're both, really, we love both those products. We think they're working well. Still room for improvement, and but we've seen that improvement come in. Cleanup's already there. We've got the Ask Client feature. Both of those absolutely brilliant. But I think just that refinement in the way that we're dealing with the bank now, like the idea that we can do the whole transfer like that, very, very recently that's been brought in, but the way transfer works now should solve so much time. Like the amount of times that you've come to a client and the biggest issue is that they've just not dealt with transfers properly and reconciliations are all over the place. Now we've got that automated, more streamlined transfer.
That whole pairing thing, that's really big and obvious on the screen that even the client can't go and miss it.
You hope. And they're starting to flex their muscles a little bit with the, with the fact that now when you use the QuickBooks receipt capture, you got the opportunity now to be able to bring that into the full review section, not just the category section. And I mean, they're not new, but those little enhancements are just giving us that little bit of extra thing of going, right, okay, that's what the future's like for it, and that's how it's going to go. And I think that's exciting.
Yeah, it certainly gives you an idea of direction of the roadmap for all those features. Definitely a positive summary of advancements we've seen in recertification.
And just a PSA out there for everyone, you've got until the 30th of June 23:59 apparently, but as they brought forward the midday one, I wouldn't wait quite until that time, just in case. I don't know if it's on American time or something, that's the issue. But yeah, make sure you do get yourself recertified beforehand. Don't forget, it's all open book as well, so use your notes, use recordings, use handouts, use QuickBooks itself.
That handout, that PowerPoint handout that's available to download, that was spot on. That was really pinpoint. Didn't have to waste any time. Like, really helpful.
Oh, good to hear. I'll let Katie know on that one. I know she was proud of that one, so that's good to hear. And by the sounds of it, you can do it on the bus. So if you can do it on the bus, it should be absolutely fine.
You want.
Brilliant. I remember, I assume the 100's already done, but get yourself done as soon as possible, because the first 100 do get a swag box as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you've got yourself that swag and you've been able to grab that. But yeah, recertification, I'm glad it's done out there in the wild now and good to go. And I'm seeing positive things on the social media as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, people are there and understanding it, and the questions aren't too taxing, one better word. All right, we've got a quick product update here as well. Now, you're going to have to excuse the way I'm setting this one up. It is actually a live client. I'm trying my best to keep confidentiality, etc. there, using a way of being able to put these items in here. but yeah, so the idea here is that what we're trying to do is come back and revisit that whole statements issue that we've had, or not an issue, but the statements that we've had within QuickBooks Online. I want to say 5 years ago now, when open banking was first promised to us, one of the things they were talking to us about was the fact that we could, have all these benefits. And one of the benefits where we were able to download directly into QuickBooks Online the actual bank statements itself. Now, for me, that was like absolute dream mode. The idea we could go in and we could see the bank statements in automatically. We didn't have to go through the rigmarole of asking the client, getting it to send over to us. And that functionality was live, again, I want to say 5 years ago, and then it disappeared. And then slowly but surely, it seems to be appearing in clients every so often. So I've got it in this client here, and we've seen this button before, but on this particular client, it disappeared, but now it's appeared again. Not only has it appeared again, but now they've got some extra features in there as well. So first of all, this is a bank reconciliation screen, and you'll notice here that I now have the option not only to go and resume reconciliation, do my reconciliation as normal, but I can view my statements directly here. When I do that, it's going to come through. It's going to show me what statements are available and what's already been reconciled, so I can see them and I can download them. And if I had to click on them, it will actually bring that statement up for me. But what I really find useful is when I'm in my reconciliation page itself, then there it is. I was going to say it's not appeared now. You now get this fancy little button here. So it's going to give you exactly the same functionality, but you now have it in the reconciliation page. Now, it wasn't there before. So this, to me, isn't a feature that has, accidentally been turned on and it felt something somewhere or someone is working on this actual feature at this point in time. So, what do you think to that then? Is that how you expected this to be implemented? What do you think?
What bank is this connected to?
So this is a NatWest bank account.
Interesting. I'm just wondering if there's some kind of thing where it will work with some banks and not the other. I mean, we use Stream Connect at the moment.
Yes, you've mentioned that before. Yeah.
Statements. So we've got an accurate reading, and it's improved our bank reconciling no end. Just in the efficiency of not having to wait for a client to send us stuff. It's so much better. And we get through it so much quicker. So yeah, if that's now in QuickBooks and it stays in QuickBooks, then that saves me another software fee. So happy days.
Exactly. And also it's because I don't know about you, we've tried similar ones. I forget what the original one was called back in the day that used to connect to Sage and put them through. Bankstream, that was it. And that's if you remember, QuickBooks acquired Bankstream, and that was part of like one of the features they brought in. But one of the things I'll always remember about that technology and how it was the annoyance was the fact that you had to have another solution your clients had to sign up for and agree on and get signed up. And when you're going through the onboarding process, sometimes it can be just that little bit of a one step too far when you ask them to do this, to do that, to do this, because they end up like either not, finding the whole onboarding process frustrating, or they forget that that's there and that's what the feature's for. And, it can become disjointed if you're not careful.
Definitely.
So what I like about having it all in, and that's why for me, receipt capture is so powerful, because I don't have to ask my client to go and install a new app on their phone and sign up to this and sign up to that and everything else that goes with it. So it is kind of perfect. But for me, what I was expecting was more the challenger banks would be the ones that you'd get that, get that statement feature automatically,
It's interesting. So I've come across a few things recently that make me wonder, have we overhyped our challenger banks?
Really? Okay.
So Starling don't do bulk payments.
Yeah.
It's like, why not? Santander do. NatWest do. Like, how is a challenger bank who's got all the better APIs and stuff not built this out yet? Doesn't go live until July. With Stream Connect, we link our banks and then we go in and pull the data when we need it. And it reconnects every 3 months as open banking rules state. But Santander has already said, so, and it tells you in Stream Connect when the connection expires.
Nice.
So my Starling one expires in 5 days' time or something. My Santander one doesn't expire anymore.
Okay.
Because they've changed to the continuous link. Once you've linked, you've linked. But a challenger bank hasn't embraced that, and they've got until September to extend it. Is it to 180 days or something?
Yeah, yeah, as well.
But I've seen on social media Starling saying we're not doing this yet because we think it's a breach of GDPR. And it's like, what's it got to do with GDPR? So yeah, it's the big boys are catching up. Put it that way.
Yeah.
The guys that were slow out the blocks, the turtles in the race, as it were, they're starting to get ahead.
Yeah, no, I can see what you're saying, and like, I know a lot of the features and everything. It's all parity now, isn't it? You know, certainly from what my even personal experience, you know, NatWest is what I used to bank with and went on Starling. And actually, if I go back to my NatWest, I'm not really losing out as much as I used to. It's all kind of pretty much there. And NatWest have got Metal now, and they've got that solution, and they've got FreeAgent going with it as well. So yeah, I think you're right. I think there is a shift of tide, isn't there? Yeah, going forward. But I don't know. I just, you know, I was expecting so much more. I think that's, you know, I think you're right. It's that expectation, isn't it, of what we were expecting and everything else and coming with it. But I mean, for me, you know, one of the best features of most of those challenger banks, especially Starling, is that idea that we can have pots and we can encourage our clients to put money into this and money into that, and the pots go here and the pots go there. And we know that if QuickBooks Bank comes in, that's another topic for another day, but if QuickBooks Bank ever does arrive, they've got their envelope feature that's very similar, and there's, you know, there's opportunities there to automate that. Every time, you know, an invoice comes in, 20% goes to your saving, that sort of idea. But what I find really interesting is, even though that those innovations are so powerful and so good, they've still not given it an easy way for us to reconcile that. Like, as accountants, we're always on the back foot with spaces and how they work and everything else, because they don't treat them as separate bank accounts, so it all goes in the same pot. But then we've got to try and reconcile it back. And you know, nowadays for us, actually, the challenger banks are the ones that are more different. For a couple of our clients, we have to ask them to screenshot their phone to send it over to us, just so we've got a kind of chance of being able to, you know, being able to reconcile it. So you're right. Maybe we are overhyping the challenger banks too much.
I think they deserved all the hype they got for the last 3 or 4 years, but I don't know if they got complacent. I don't know what's happened, but yeah, actually, they just need to get the eye back on the ball and crack on. Otherwise, the NatWests, the RBS, the Lloyds and stuff, they are going to catch up.
And stop trying to own it all, because they keep trying to build these, you know, software solutions, and they're probably great and they're probably good for what they are. But, you know, for a proper client, if you like, or a bigger client, they're going to have a dedicated software, and that's got to, at the end of the day, that's got to work well with the software. There shouldn't be, you know, these hoops to jump in. So
what you're saying is stay in your lane.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. But then we're sat here saying that QuickBooks, where's this bank account? So
yeah, I mean, you stay in your lane. We're coming over.
Exactly right. Exactly. Fantastic. Yeah. So Paul, it's definitely something to do with. Well, it's definitely only certain bank accounts that are going to be up from day one. But the whole point of open banking was this is supposed to be one of those features that were going to come with it. This was, you know, the dream of open banking. We're going to force software all to go down the same lanes, and, you know, as a reward, we're going to get these extra features. So, yeah, but at least you can reconcile with QuickBooks, unlike other software solutions out there.
Yeah.
Well, probably best not to.
Don't blew in my face, actually, trying to deal with that.
Okay, so next topic that we wanted to talk about was the fact that QuickBooks conference, so QuickBooks Connect, is definitely live next year. which is good to see. So we're going back from virtual events into live. Well, we hope so. We hope there's no complications down the road. But it all seems to be booked for December in a brand new location. So before, it always used to be San Andreas and all that area, wasn't it? Or San Francisco and everything, where they are based. But now they're going to be heading over to Las Vegas. So what do you think well, it seems obvious. What do you think the reasons for? Is it to try and encourage us to actually go and attend these events, or what do you think?
A part of me wonders if these conferences I think they've been kind of rebranded in a way. So it's become more of a networking, social, after party central event. Like, I'm going down on Tuesday next week to Account X. I've got drinks and food lined up with some people on the Tuesday night. We've got the capitalized party or the practice ignition party on the Wednesday. Like, the after party of the event is actually where the value can be in a lot of the time. And it's shrugging off that stale old top bowler hat type image of an accountant. So yeah, do you want to go, if you want to expose and point out the fun that can be had at these conferences, then where better would you want to go than Party Central at Las Vegas?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, because I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday about, he works in a different industry, works in IT, so he's very much involved in the Microsoft of the conferences and everything else, and he brought up a really good point that most of these conferences, I suppose Account X may be a little bit different, but especially QuickBooks and your ZeroCon and those ones where you brand loyal or whatever the reason is, but you've gone there for that brand or you want to learn about that brand, not necessarily going there to buy anything. Like, they've already sold you the product. They've already, you've already like put your flag in the ground and says, I'm using QuickBooks. I just want to use it better. I want to find better ways of using it. I want to improve my processes. And I think that's definitely something that kind of twigged for me where, well, that's where these sort of events are designed for. It's not a hard sell. It's not trying to, you can come here if you have X amount of them and all that sort of stuff. So I think you're right. I think there is a lot of benefit there, and there's going to be a lot of changes, I think, coming forward in terms of what these events are. And I think QuickBooks Las Vegas sounds brilliant. And in fact, funnily enough, it was actually, he was telling me how he was flown out to Las Vegas for his conference for Microsoft, and they ended up with Queen playing there, and it was that sort of event, and it was that sort of, but the amount he got out of there in terms of learning from the developers what this feature is supposed to do and how this works and what this is supposed to do, like, it was massive for him. And I think that's what we've got to start to see conferences for. It's a chance for us just to understand the product better and understand the product more and come away with it from there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it was one of the main attractions to QuickBooks was I did my first QuickBooks conference in London. I think it was the year of the storm of the beast from the east.
Yeah.
We were all in red blankets and hand warmers because it's so bloody cold. And then people were getting stranded across the country halfway home. But I went to it and I walked away feeling that, yes, there's the keynote and it's all about QuickBooks and they're there. But all the breakout sessions and stuff, there's so much there to develop you as a person, you as a practice, and how to add value to your clients. That it wasn't even just about the product and the software. I don't feel all the roadshows and stuff I've been to from other companies have been like that. I walked away feeling that there was a real focus on us and adding value to us and our businesses, rather than going, look at us, we're doing this, force it down your throat for 2 days and walk out until you're green in the core. Yeah. So yeah, I think the conferences that QuickBooks do are fantastic. And yeah, I mean, QuickBooks Labs, surely you need to go out and do a live show from Las Vegas, don't you? I mean, put it on the company account.
I mean, it sounds it, doesn't it? And I think we'll need all previous guests to come on as well, because it's only fair, isn't it? You know what I mean? You can't, yeah. But no, I think that's one we might have to try and find a way to, as QuickBooks fans, I think we've got to try and find a way to get there. And I think because originally for me, all of the conferences, especially the QuickBooks ones, are all about learning about what's going to happen with the product. Like that's what I was there for. Like, what they're going to announce, what could it be, and all this and the other. And the more I kind of, with my role and what I'm doing at the moment, that's going to be less exciting for me, because I've either beta tested it already or I've heard about it on the grapevine, and it almost spoils that element of it. So I think for me, just kind of focusing on the fact that, it's all about growing your network, understanding the how to use the product from someone else who may, and how it's done, and then all the extra speakers they bring into play. It's just it's interesting. And what I like about the QuickBooks one is the day as well when they bring in not just the accountants, but they bring in the users as well, because then you get to have it's the best floor to talk to, like how using QuickBooks, like what do you like about it, what don't you like about it, and it's and that becomes brilliant, doesn't it? So
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it looks like QuickBooks Connect is going to be something to keep an eye on that one. The next one we're talking about is all about conference as well. The season is in full swing. So as Johan's already mentioned, the idea that we're going to QuickBooks QuickBooks, we're going to Countex next week. I can't believe it's next week, to be fair. I mean, we seem to be talking about it for a long time. And if you look at the amount of speakers that are actually going to be there, it's going to be crazy. So
you look at the amount of people saying they're going on LinkedIn, it's going to be busy.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's going to be an incredible event. Absolutely incredible.
Really looking forward to it. The 2 days as well. So, we've got quite a lot to go through. I think there should be some really good announcements there as well, from what we can tell as well, in terms of like product. I know Ash himself, he's got, he's can't wait to tell everyone about the fact that he's got his new features that have gone live with Net Tracker, and the fact that there's going to be more there. So if you are going, make sure you go and see Ash's booth. I can't remember what number it is, but as you walk in, from memory, it's on the left hand side over there. So that will be definitely highly recommended. And it's always, these events are going to be great for just looking at those partners that you may or may not have considered about, and seeing what they're doing. I'll always remember when I went to, again, I think it might have been the same one you were talking about, or it might have been the QuickBooks afterwards. And that's where I went back to auto entry one more time. And I was like, look, I've used you guys in the past. I wasn't that impressed. What have you changed? And they just completely changed my view on them in terms of how they could fit in my organization. And yes, they may not be that I'd put them on every single client, but actually there's a subsection of clients that you guys are just going to solve so many problems I'm having. And it's them sort of conversations that can make or break your practice for the next year, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. And then there's all the swag. I mean, I'm taking Scott. He's my kind of right-hand man in the practice. I'm taking him down to expose him to the concept of conferencing and the networking with the suppliers, because that's huge. I spend more time at these things talking to software providers and stuff than I do in the conference shows and stuff. But we're getting trains down from Scotland because we're worried about luggage allowance coming back. That's the genuine concern. It's like, how much luggage can we put on a plane? How much swag have we got? So we're going to get a train.
And actually, the real reason you're taking you have a guy, so there's someone else to carry the swag as well in there. So you can keep bringing it back to the rest of the office.
But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. Like, there's loads going on over the next few months, and yeah, I think if you book to go to everything, you're going to get in trouble with the missus at home.
Exactly right.
I'm already in trouble for going away for 4 days.
No, I completely understand. I mean, when we think back to like how much they've been, like the amount of conferences that we have and everything else, like it's just, and it's good to see the appetite's back as well. So it's one of those, isn't it, where when we were kind of going through COVID and everything, it was like, well, are these things, are they going to come back? Is there, you know, is there a place for them anymore? I remember having those conversations back then.
There was a
But
lot
it
of
is,
talk, wasn't there, about it all going online and staying online.
yeah, exactly. And some conferences will continue to be online, but I think these sort of ones, they need that face-to-face, don't they? You need to build those relationships with them, with the partners and all the providers and everything else. And I think that's when it's going down. So yeah, we'll be definitely there. And actually we're trying, I'm trying to figure out if we can do some content down there as well. So keep an eye on the channels, and we'll, if you haven't been able to make it in person, then we'll try and get some content out there. So that should be good. Other ones, honorable mentions though, we've got Digital Accounting Show on the 8th of June as well. Are you looking to go to that one as well, Jan? Or
I was, but I'm now told I'm going to Mauritius for 2 weeks instead.
I mean, which one's better? You know what I mean? Yeah, I see you
2 weeks all inclusive, or Digital Accountancy Show in Tottenham.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, only just one, but I can see why it won. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I was there for that one last year, and it was a really good first conference that they ever did.
Yeah.
And yeah, really enjoyed it. So I think anyone going to that will be in for an absolutely brilliant time.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a speaking one on that one as well, so I'm looking forward to getting in front of everybody. And then something called ZeroCon, 20th to 21st of July. I've heard people really enjoy that one, but on this channel, unfortunately, we won't be covering it. So, but maybe that's something what we should go down and open mind and see what it's like. But we will see. So yeah, no, it's going to be really, really exciting to kind of see everyone in. And the amount of emails I've had over the past couple of weeks and stuff saying, "Are you going? You know, we're at this stand and all this like that." So yeah, it's going to be very, very, very interesting indeed. We've got a few final bits to kind of bring into play and just have a little conversations about. So the first one, let's talk about the fact that FreeAgent is starting to target landlords. So I don't know how have you got many clients on FreeAgent yourself, or what would you say is
I was in there this morning. I've got 18.
18. Okay. Yeah, so you can kind of see how it works.
Yeah,
I think we may even have less than that, but yeah, it's FreeAgent for me is one of those where you can definitely see what they're trying to do, and for a client who wants to do everything pretty much themselves, it's an absolute brilliant piece of software, isn't it? Like they can't do anything wrong, they can't break anything. It's very, very locked down and very made for everything being put in thing. In fact, I'll always remember one of the clients that we had was very confused that we weren't filing the accounts via FreeAgent, and that, you know, now FreeAgent doesn't tell me that, you know, so you can kind of see where it kind of comes from. But with them looking at the landlord picture and going through that, I think that's a really interesting and clever move for them. They got metal as well, as we've already kind of alluded to, so that could be a match made in heaven, in my opinion.
It's another niche that they've really identified, like, because they were doing really well with like contractors.
Yes.
And I wonder how hard they've been hit by IR35 coming in.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's an interesting one because you know, we know QuickBooks is going to target landlords maybe in a year or two's time, ready for MTD ITSA. And we were just talking earlier about the Hammock, which is a really clever, insightful, powerful bit of kit for landlords to have their books on, and have that, like, in the same way QuickBooks has the ability for us as accountants to be seeing what's happening and stuff at the same time as the client. Is really good. So I think landlords has been a very undervalued market or segment of the market for any software provider. And then all of a sudden, everyone's kind of gone, there's now value in this because of MTD ITSA coming up. And that's where they've kind of gone, right, we need to do something with this.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like the industry itself, it should be relatively straightforward, but they have those complications inside, don't they?
Yeah.
Even now, one of my biggest questions will always be like, how can I make QuickBooks work for this and work for that? And most of the time it is around property and how it's going to be. So having that dedicated software could be absolutely brilliant. One thing I'm worried about though, when we're thinking about the idea that, you know, looking at landlords and you know, QuickBooks going down that route, is we still don't know what's happening with QuickBooks Self-Employed. So please don't let it be that that's what that's their solution for that they're going to repurpose that. I can't see it happening, but yeah, let's just hope that there'll be something, or whatever they're building and however they're going down it, that it does make it, you know, really easy to use. I think that's going to be the important bit, isn't it?
And see, it's obviously the fear that we all have about QuickBooks Self-Employed, because I was looking at the beta for MTD ITSA, and we're going to get some of our clients signed up onto it to help out with the testing. And it was one of the first questions I said, is this linked to Self-Employed or is it linked to QuickBooks Online? Oh, it's QuickBooks Online. Is that correct choice? That is the right answer.
That's what we want to hear. Yeah, no, that's that. I mean, at the end of the day, by the sounds of it, QuickBooks Self-Employed does have a shelf life now, doesn't it? And it is going to come to a point where it's going to go the way of the dodo. But surely that, like, I can't imagine they're just going to close it down and walk away for good. So what that morphs into could be interesting to understand.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's as I say, it's an undervalued section of our of business is landlords, but actually there's a lot of landlords that need some decent support out there, especially the what we call the accidental ones. Like, I inherited my parents' house, I've not sold it, I've just rented it out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they've got all this tax and income and what can I can't claim and stuff. And it kind of just builds out from there. So there's a huge sector of the market underserved. So fair play to FreeAgent for getting out there ahead of the rest of the game. Will Zero be making a move on that industry? I don't know. I wonder if they're landlords are a bit too small fry for them. Possibly. They're looking for bigger turnover, maybe. I don't know. Because startups and small businesses aren't Zero's prime, are they? They're looking for the larger side of small businesses.
Yeah, definitely right. And I wonder as well, like, we're concentrating on MTD ITSA and how that's going to be improved, and all the focus of it is for that. But I wonder if any of them's got appetite to tackle the capital gains element of it as well, you know, because that has hit rental property massively. Like, it's still like it's the Wild West out there in terms of the advice and everything that's going on. And I know a lot of the clients we've had just were completely unaware of it when, like, we've just recently taken on that we had to do what by when, like, so, you know, hopefully if they can kind of find a solution that does all that for them, I mean, certainly there'll be something that we would be singing the rooftops for and kind of pushing down. So
yeah, we've had to do quite a few capital gains. Like, to be fair, through the MTD portal, capital gains is actually a really easy thing to file. It's just general public awareness of, I've got to pay tax on selling a flat that we've had one lady, she's had to pay tax. She was renting it out to her son and his friends for a very small amount. It actually turns out she's made a loss because of the tax she's now had to pay in capital gains, because she didn't realize there was this implication of tax at the end of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not good.
It even seems like solicitors aren't, and because it should be them that's picking all this up, shouldn't it?
They should be the ones saying, right, you're selling a property. Have you rented it out before? Yes. Right. Are you aware? Here's an information leaflet. Here's half a dozen different accountant business cards. Off you go.
Go. Make sure it's done. Yeah, you've got a ticking time bomb on your hand, basically.
Yeah, because considering they deal with all the dual residency taxes and stuff as well, you'd have thought it would have fitted into that conversation they're already having. So
yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So we shall see. But I think, I mean, definitely that hammock solution looks like something to do some more investigation on. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how that all goes forward. Next piece of news, just a real quick one here. It seems like Mailchimp's in a bit of trouble. So just a quick background of what's happening here is Intuit's actually been sued over the fact that cryptocurrency theft, right, based on the fact that an email campaign from Mailchimp itself just caused massive issues and stolen crypto coins as a result of it. What that makes me kind of looked at here is that we're going to be going down this massive integration with QuickBooks. And I still believe, and I know you got a kind of different opinion on it, but I still believe that the Mailchimp integration is going to be huge going forward in terms of when it finally integrates and everything comes through. But it does show you how you kind of open yourself up for a whole new kind of worms that we've not really thought of before. Like, we never really needed to be worried about if our email campaign contains this, and it could, it could be a crypto problem or whatever the reason was that's come into it. And you kind of put well, I certainly have maybe unwarranted faith in that these software, because they are so sophisticated at what they do, that surely that's safe. Like this day and age, yes, we have to be GDPR compliant, but most of the time we're relying on software to be helping us through that and making sure we're not cause ourselves issues and everything else. And you'll see that with anything now, wouldn't you? You've applied for the software, and the software isn't cheap. Like, you would think then that when you go ahead and raise a campaign and stuff, that all of these little issues are dealt with for you. So yeah, it's interesting. And what do have you started playing around with Mailchimp yet, or what's your kind of opinion on it?
Yeah, we're having a play with it. I mean, we aren't big emailing newsletter type firm. It's because I know as a recipient how annoyed I get and how much junk things go into my junk box because I don't want to hear it. So because of that, I think that reflects within our brand that I don't then do it very much myself. So if you get an email from us, it's important.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, I think Mailchimp's going to be really powerful with QuickBooks. There's no denying that. My concern is QuickBooks has brought into a software that's a bit late to the party. Like, they're trying to do e-commerce websites and stuff. It's like Shopify dominate that market.
Yep.
Like, Mailchimp's not got a brand or recognition in that market. They're just too late to that party. And does that then mean that actually the value QuickBooks saw in it isn't actually quite there? I don't know. In theory, if you had an e-commerce website, if you had the whole setup of QuickBooks and Mailchimp, the power, the insight, the opportunity to upsell and identify customers, and it'd be phenomenal. I wonder if they'd have got there quicker if they brought Shopify instead of Mailchimp, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's wait and see on that one, if I'm honest, to see whether it's actually going to be the be all and end all that we thought it was going to be.
That's really interesting insight. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting that you've kind of come in from there, because I know that their e-commerce side of things is something that they seem to want to push, but even while we've been using it, they've never really there's been no improvement on that side of things. It's always been quite a stagnant area of the software, to be honest. So it's interesting that the kind of I can definitely see that there should be some power and some element there, but I don't know how that's gonna translate. But I do think though that, like, with Mailchimp itself, like, we as everyone who's starting to look at it and use it are going to go into new territory that we've never really been able to do before. We've not had the software to properly do it and integrate. So it should open up some great opportunities for everyone who's using it. But I'm just wondering, like, when the trainings come in and when the integration fully is coming, and when, it's probably a bit selfish here, but when the discounts are going to come our way and we can start looking at them sort of things. And that's to me will be the kind of the telling point really of how big this is going to be and how serious they're going to take it.
I asked, so we saw some kind of visionary stuff, like, this is what we think we're going to be able to do with it. This is kind of the goal. And I said to them, like, what's the pricing going to look like for accountants? You want us to push this product, you need to make it attractive to us to use it, to then promote the benefits. Not even considered it from from the feel I got. They hadn't even considered the tariff pricing or anything like we get with QuickBooks licenses. You know, we get exclusive access. We all get the same. It's fantastic. They hadn't even at this stage thought about that, how that was going to sit with Mailchimp. So yeah, I get the impression it's a long way off.
Yeah, which is a shame, isn't it? It's a massive, massive shame because, like you said, missed opportunity, isn't it? And if they were already a little bit behind the curve anyway, then they're going to continue to be there. So we shall see on that one. Okay, so final topic then for today, and we've stolen this directly from Accounting Web, so I hope they don't mind. I know they normally don't mind, but is Steamdeck the future? And I thought I'd bring it on because I know you yourself started using the wonderful world of Steamdeck as well, and I've been there. I mean, I'm so jealous you've gone for that full blown. You know,
if you're going to do it properly. Do it properly,
yeah. But it is interesting, isn't it, how these sort of technology have started to really come into kind of our world in terms of making life easier for us and making it so we can quickly do things. And for anyone who doesn't know, a Steamdeck is basically, as Jan's just shown there, it's just an opportunity for you to be able to press a button on your computer and it will do something like magical. You know, there'll be opportunities, and a great use case for it is just something as simple as a Zoom call. Instead of having to click the mute button and all those elements, you can just have it all set up so it's one click away for you able to do things. And the reason I got it originally was for these sort of live streams and all that sort of stuff, but actually more than that, I use it for Excel and I use it for QuickBooks and I use it for all those sort of things because, you know, I kind of miss being a power user back in the day of you know, Sage 950 and all them ones where you could press a little shortcut combination and off to the races. So it's kind of giving us that itch and making us more efficient, isn't it? And it's interesting how that sort of technology is starting to help us as accountants and make it easier for us.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in May 2017 when I was sat in the Edinburgh Marriott Hotel doing my QuickBooks Advanced training, led by the more than able Ash, actually.
It was Ash, was it? Oh, he went all over to Edinburgh, did he? Nice.
Yeah. So I remember sitting there and Ash talking about all these shortcuts. You press this, you press that. And there was a couple of older ladies. Well, that's not as many as I get in QuickBooks Desktop, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I sat there thinking, you don't need shortcuts. Don't be daft. It's not that hard to navigate a blooming website. He says that. I'm now sat there thinking, can we have more hotkeys, please? Because I've got more buttons to program. So, you know, new invoice, boof. I hit a button, it pops up. No more click, click, click. Like, so yeah, I want a hotkey that will give me a new journal. I want, you know, I'm programming buttons to bring me up my P&L and bring it's fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah. It's those sort of ones you get most out of, because when you jump into clients, just being able to jump in a client and just bring up their TB, like it's, you know, you do it once and you go, right, that's a game changer. That's kind of saved me X amount of time. And when you add it all up, and it's when you're on a call to a client and, you know, they're asking you a particular question and you bring up the P&L or the TB like that, it just becomes so much of a tool, you know, so useful as a tool, doesn't it? So no, I'm definitely up for it, and or you know, want to see kind of more innovations like that going forward. And if anyone's kind of wants to play around with it as well, you can just download the app for your phone and you can have a similar sort of experience there. So if you want to see if it's worthwhile for you, definitely have a go with it and definitely have a play with it. So yeah, it's interesting.
Great bit of kit. And the thing is, I think over the last 5 years, we've had such big wins like Dex and auto entry processing documents. How much time has that saved us over the last 5 years? It's incredible.
Yeah.
We've got all these efficiencies now, and we've stopped looking for like, how can I save 10 minutes on this job? We're now, it's like the GB cycle team, like they are looking, if I shave my legs, how many milliseconds does that take off my time? If I use this material instead of this material, and it all adds up. And that's where we are now. We're not, you know, Like I've got a client who doesn't want to email things into Dex. It doesn't trust it. So he emails it into his invoices at whatever.com email it is, but it's on such an archaic setting, server thing, that it can't do auto forward. So I go in to it using my mail client, and I've got a button. So I go in and I press on the first email, press the button, it opens it, it populates the address for Dex, and it sends it. Like, so I forwarded 65 emails in 3.5 minutes earlier.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. That would have taken me, even if I was trying to be savvy and use the down key and copy and paste the email address in and then clicking, it would have taken me 5 times longer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the power of it is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I've seen. I mean, Steamdeck is one of the options for it, and it works really, really well. But I've also seen some of the other like opportunities you've got there, and kind of Steamdeck came first, and then there's going to be the other ones that are coming up. And yeah, I think that's definitely something we need to keep an eye on more in terms of the little, your little gadgets, if you like, that can interact with the PC, because that's when you're going to get those big savings, like you said, isn't it? And then you're going to be able to see them go forward. So.
And I think the thing is, like, everyone looks at, so like Dave Sheldick has got hundreds of bloody things. It's like I've seen less buttons in the space shuttle than what he's got in front of his monitors. He's even got one of these new ones that's a foot pedal.
Yes.
So you stomp the foot pedal. I mean, I quite like the idea of going disengaged to a client and stomping the foot pedal. I think that'd be quite therapeutic. But you don't need it all. Like, how many buttons have you got? 6 or 15 or
something like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Like there's so much you can do with just a couple of buttons. Did I need the 32 button one? Probably not. Like I could have done the 15 one, but they are so powerful that I've got loads on there, and they keep just digging in and in and into different things. And as soon as you do something a few times, you think, actually, can I just program this into Steamdeck? So I only have to press it once. Yeah, they're incredible. Just don't expect instant wins overnight. It's one of those things that you're constantly evolving.
And if you can find software that has native plugins, absolutely brilliant. Yeah. But the accounting world's not caught up with that. The first one to get there, get a Quickbooks Lab award from us if they can. So there's your race. Whoever can get there first in the watch. But yeah, I mean, the opportunity that they could bring in and you could do, and we're just kind of reaching the start of it, aren't we? So yeah, it's gonna.
Yeah. And it's surprising actually how many softwares in the accounting world actually do have stuff. So we've moved to Carbon recently.
Oh yeah. Okay, interesting.
One of the first things I did was I went into their help section. I just put the term hotkeys, and then it came up with all their hotkeys. It's like, oh, I want that, I'll use that. And I've just programmed my buttons. I've done the same with Dex, QuickBooks, anything. If they've got a help section, type in shortcuts or hotkeys, see what comes up, and see if there's anything there that you think, actually, I do that all the time. That'll save me a few seconds.
Definitely. Yeah.
Nice.
It's impressive. It really is. Yeah. So everyone out there, if you want to go and get yourself a Steamdeck, then we should really put a link below for that. But no, it is definitely a good piece of kit for going out there and get efficiencies going forward. So before we leave today, we've got some, and apologies, not been looking at the comment section, but let's just make sure we've answered some of these from Paul here. So yeah, I heard this as well. So TaxCount seems to be preparing for a big announcement at Accountex. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on that one.
Are they going cloud-based?
You what? Sorry.
Are they going cloud-based?
It has to be by now, surely. I mean, I don't understand how that's not happened. And Iris as well, but that's one for another story. Is FA better for QuickBooks for handling landlords? I wouldn't say it is at its current state. It's quite restrictive.
Yeah.
But if this, knowing what they normally do in terms of how they niche down and what they'll do, I can imagine the new version of it would be pretty nice.
Certainly one to watch.
Definitely. What's your QuickBooks for Landlord video? But wonder how would you handle a sole trader with property in one QuickBooks account? Same as I did in the video, to be fair. And I mean, my personal situation is it's effectively a sole trader. Going through from there, and it, you know, use locations, use classes. It's really quite handy to put through. With MTD, it's coming through though. We're going to have separate licenses anyway, aren't we? So we'll see how that works. Two people on QBSE this week, and to be fair, I bet they absolutely love it, because that's the thing I get from my clients is they love QuickBooks Self-Employed, absolutely love it to bits. Majority of them,
I think, as long as you know the use case. The problem is the balance sheet. So I had clients on QuickBooks Self-Employed that we would never have expected to need a balance sheet to demonstrate creditors and a loan.
Yeah.
But then COVID hit. Bounce back loans galore, and all of a sudden their accounting software wasn't fit for purpose. So it's just understanding the plans for that business going forwards. And if they're only going to be a driving instructor, they don't have finance on the car, they don't have any loans or anything, then actually, with the mileage tracker and stuff, it's probably absolutely phenomenal bit of kit for them.
Yeah.
But it's the moment they decide, actually, Paul, I've decided I'm going to replace this car, I'm going to get a new one, it's going to be on a lease. How do we put it through the books? So actually, self-employed's not fit for purpose now.
Or I'm looking just to bring in this, small part-timer in, bit of payroll.
Admin to book my lessons or something. It is phenomenal for the right audience. Unfortunately, that audience is just very slim, and there's a lot of misperceptions about it.
And the frustrating thing is that when you finally convince a client to move over, they see it as almost a step back in terms of the intuitiveness, because they're like, "What? I've got to move it from for review to reviewed, and the concept doesn't quite go there." I've had some clients that they know QuickBooks Online is better for them. They can integrate their e-commerce platform. They've got all this magical stuff there. I've sold it to them, and they spend half an hour or a day in it, and they're like, you know what? I just want to go back to QuickBooks Self-Employed. So that's going to be the tricky bit. And I think, I don't know if you saw some concepts, or I say concepts, some screenshots I had from a client in America who's got that really weird view where it's almost like QuickBooks Self-Employed and QuickBooks all merged together. I've got a feeling that's a reality that's going to hit us sooner rather than later, unfortunately. So hopefully there'll be an option to go back to the old version. That would be the dream, wouldn't it?
If there's a toggle there, that a bit like the business owner versus accountant view, exactly. If there's that toggle, then I think it's okay to have it.
We're all happy, aren't we? Mortgage suppliers and advisor should be advising about tax. They definitely should be, but I know I get a lot of work through them because they just don't want to. They don't want to risk it, do they? It's a big risk factor for them, isn't it? It's a specialist area. Well, they see it as a specialist area, even though most of them are more than capable of doing it. They just don't want to risk giving out bad advice. Do you use a programmable gaming keyboard or standard keyboard? Actually, I went from a gaming keyboard to just a standard keyboard, and I don't think I'm going to look back, to be honest. The problem with gaming keyboards is you type on it and they just go clickety clickety, and they all that sort of stuff. And when you're on a call, that's the worst thing you want to be doing, or if you're doing this sort of thing. So I'm just a nice low profile, easy to use keyboard. What about yourself? You got yourself a fancy gaming?
No, I'm just on the Apple full keyboard numlock. That's my only top tip. I've seen accountants and bookkeepers starting out get themselves a laptop to run the business with or something. That's great, but they underestimate the value of a number pad. Right, it's phenomenally important.
It is massive, isn't it? I remember when I used to even carry around with me when I first started out a keyboard number pad attachment that you could just Bluetooth in and use as a keyboard, and that was absolute lifesaver.
Definitely.
And that's it. Yeah. Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, Johan, thank you so much for jumping in and helping us get through this one. Have you got anything coming up on your videos or anything you want to promote, anything like that, your end?
My video. So we've got a guy coming in and doing some videos with me and filming me to try and make it look semi-professional, because compared to my stuff, it's awful. But I literally just got a message during the show saying he's put more videos for me to approve. So keep an eye out, see what happens.
I've been enjoying it. I think they've been brilliant. So yeah, keep it up.
I will meet people at Accountex. If you see me, come and say hello if you want to. If you don't, fine. But happy to chat to anyone, especially about the merits of QuickBooks and how we use it in the practice and stuff. Really looking forward to just seeing people in person. There's lots of people who, like Paul Whitehouse, know his face, see him on loads of social channels. It'd be great to be able to just say hello properly in person, maybe get a coffee.
Definitely.
And I think I'm speaking at Accountex. I'm helping deliver the working papers workshops on day 1 and 2 with Jonathan. Just a bit of practice insight. Jonathan's going to tell you all about it, and I'm just going to say, this is how we put that into practice.
That'll be good to hear. We'll definitely make sure we go to that one. Yeah, I feel like if we'd have done this a little bit more, what do you call it? We should have arranged to meet up ourselves. But I think there's too much going on in Accountex as it is there? So there's not enough room for it. So yeah, but yeah, definitely. If you do catch any of us, and Ash, please do go over to Ash's booth, have a look at Net Tracker. I know he's really excited about some of the enhancements that are coming. So, and yeah, we've seen it. We're excited for him. So that's going to be amazing. Yeah, if you see me around as well, again, say hello. And with that, we'll be back in a month's time. Same time frame we're thinking of. I can't see any reasons or problems for that. And hopefully, fingers crossed, there is some news that we're thinking on its way. So I won't be able to say much more than that. But if that does come to fruition, then it's definitely one not to be missed. Remember, if you're listening by podcast, don't forget to follow us on Facebook so you can join live on one of our future episodes. And that is it. Again, massive thank you, Johan. That's brilliant, been great insight. And I'm sure we'll be knocking on your door to come back on a future episode as well.
No, anytime. More than happy to be part of it.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for all your comments as well. Have a great day, great weekend. And like Johan said, we'll be seeing you at Accountex if you arrive. So cheers, everybody, as I awkwardly try and find the outro yet again. Cheers, everyone. Bye.